With the addition of a 21-inch front wheel, the KTM has properly entered Himalayan League, and that has made the question of 390 Adventure or Himalayan 450 more difficult than ever. And here are a few things that you should know. In the electronics department, KTM have simply outdone Royal Enfield because both motorcycles have ride-by-wire throttles, they have switchable ABS, but this one gets cruise control, traction control and a quick shifter as standard. The seating position on the new 390 Adventure feels relaxed, natural and upright. And most importantly, it does not feel like a big bike when you sit on it. And when standing up, even for a tall person like me, gives me a lot of room to be comfortable and to be in control. One thing that we would improve is reduce the thickness of these foot pegs, because with these adventure boots on, getting under the gear shift is extremely difficult. Now, moving on to the Himalayan. This motorcycle immediately has a largely similar riding position, but in this motorcycle you sit a little bit more in the motorcycle. And of course, the Royal Enfield seat is simply more plush and easily more comfortable over long distances. When riding standing up also, it's largely the same as that motorcycle. Very little difference. But in terms of pillion seat comfort, the Himalayan is vastly superior. Neither motorcycle is a benchmark in terms of refinement. Both motorcycles' engines are mechanically noisy and both have a lot of vibration. Now it's time to take a closer look. Between the LC4C and the Sherpa 450, the Sherpa has the heavier crank, and that gives this motorcycle a good low-end, healthy mid-range and a top-end it can be proud of. Furthermore, because it has the heavier crank, this motorcycle is very comfortable to run at slow speeds easily. The LC4C has a lighter crank, which means this motorcycle needs to have a higher idling speed, which also means that this motorcycle has a healthy mid-range and an exciting top end. But to make up for the lack of low end when compared to that motorcycle, KTM have altered the gearing on this motorcycle to give it a shorter final drive gearing, and that is the reason it is able to use higher gears at lower speeds. But even then, it is not as comfortable pulling from a lower speed as the Himalayan. Now let's talk about going quickly. This motorcycle is very capable of carrying good speed and cruising at good speed. But if you want to ride at hooligan levels of fast and have hooligan levels of fun, then this is the motorcycle you choose. The suspension componentry on the 390 Adventure is superior because it offers a wider range of adjustability. But we feel KTM have not used the full potential of that monoshock, because even without adjustability in the Himalayan, this Showa is mounted with a linkage, and that gives it better leverage to work through its stroke, making it more progressive in its working. And that is one of the reasons why this motorcycle rides so well both on the road and off it. The KTM's front fork offers adjustability for both compression and rebound, which makes it accessible to a wide spectrum of riders, from absolute beginners to seasoned professionals. In the Himalayan, you don't have that kind of adjustment, but I feel its front end has more feedback and the bike in general is a bit more stable when riding off-road or on the road, and that could be extremely useful for beginners. And the discerning reason for that could be that this motorcycle has a significantly longer wheelbase. The power delivery of the Himalayan is smooth, linear and progressive, and it handles extremely well, both on the road and off it. This motorcycle is extremely stable and corrects itself even when the rider makes a mistake. And that should be appealing for a large spectrum of riders. But the Himalayan's biggest problem we feel is its weight. It weighs a whopping 196 kilograms. Meanwhile, in the KTM, weight is not a concern because this motorcycle is 14 kilos lighter, and the significant difference in weight shows on off-road terrain like this because this motorcycle is simply easier to manage. But in terms of power delivery, this is a proper KTM. It is not a very smooth curve. It comes in slowly and then comes in with a bang. So unless you are an experienced rider ready to control it when it comes, the KTM may not be the motorcycle for a large number of newer riders. But KTM have tried to solve that problem by giving this motorcycle different levels of throttle response in the off-road mode itself. And that does subdue the power a fair bit, which means this can be accessible to newer riders as well. On the road, we feel the KTM can attack corners more aggressively than the Himalayan. The Himalayan is fast and composed. This motorcycle is more agile and hooliganist. But on the highway, we feel the Himalayan is a better package because it is simply more stable. The Himalayan has optional wheels that can run tubeless tires, and those wheels are cross-laced, meaning the spokes are visible on the outside of the rim. Now, we've been using this motorcycle for over a year, and with these rims for over 4 or 5 months, and we've had no complaints whatsoever. But a few weeks ago, we were fortunate enough to see a Dakar motorcycle in person, and that thing had wheels like this. So clearly, it is the more robust design for off-road. But what KTM have done is that they have offered the ability to run tubeless tires in these wheels, and while these are optional, this comes as standard. There's nothing to complain about the CR tires, but if we had to pick between these two, we feel the Apollo Trampler is a little bit better. The Himalayan cost rupees 2.98 lakh ex-showroom, whereas the KTM cost rupees 3.68 lakh ex-showroom. And if you're going to add the optional spoke wheels as well, then the difference is still about roughly 60,000 rupees between these two motorcycles. For the extra amount of money, what you're getting in the KTM is a comprehensive electronic suite, adjustable suspension, and for me, most importantly, this motorcycle is significantly lighter and easier to manage off-road. But when picking between these motorcycles, our advice to you is to not look at the money or the equipment, because we feel that this Himalayan and the 390 Adventure speak to two different types of riders entirely. Somebody who wants a bit more stability and composure and all that is going to be very comfortable on the Himalayan. That same person is going to find the hooligan nature of the KTM not within his expectations. So clearly it is not a competition anymore. This is a motorcycle for a certain type of rider, which include people who like to ride extremely quickly, who value performance and enjoy light motorcycles off-road. Whereas the Himalayan speaks to a rider who enjoys traveling long distances in supreme comfort with the ability to go fast whenever required and the confidence to control a motorcycle off-road.